Hello ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to CollectioNeo, and yes, it's me, Alex, here again with another review. Now at the end of my last video, which was Court of the Dead Demothyle, I said my next review would probably be PCS Reptile, which I've already paid shipping on, or Court of the Dead Death, which is due to ship in the next couple of weeks. And then suddenly, this guy popped up. And this is popcultureshock's Ultraline Zangief, or as most people call him, Zangief. Zangief is what a friend of mine used to call him when we first had the game. He couldn't really read, so we used to have Dualism and Zangief. And Rue, remember Rue, when people called Rue? So yes, here is Ultra Zangief. So this is the third release in the Ultraline, the first being Vega, the second being Cami. I never picked Cami up. I like Cami, but I've never been truly sold on the pose on the Ultra piece. But Geef was one that I knew I needed to get. I'm a huge grappler fan, and games in general. Some of my favourite characters is, Alex from Street Fighter, Clark from King of Fighters, and obviously King from Tekken. So I love grapplers, and Geef's one of the best. As soon as this went up, I was like, I need to get it. Now this is the regular. I'll get the COA as usual from PCS. So this is just the regular collectible 1/4 statue, Street Fighter, 112 of 400. So there's 400 regulars out there. Now there's an exclusive version of this with an open mouth head, which clocks in at 275 pieces. There's also a V-Trigger exclusive, which is in Street Fighter 5, when you activate V-Trigger, he starts glowing red. There's a version of that, which is limited to 125 pieces. And then there's a Mecha Zangief for all you old, Marvelous Capcom fans and that sort of thing, which is also limited to 125 pieces. Now, just checking the popcultureshock website today, which is I think it's the 10th of June today. This is on waitlist, the regular's on waitlist, Mecha's on waitlist, and the exclusive is on waitlist. The V-Trigger is still available. Like I say, there's obviously a few additions, but your regular and your EX is coming in at $675, which is not a ton, and then obviously you've got 125 of the other two. They all retailed at $529.99. I actually went for the regular just because of saving money, really. Like I say, the EX head is exactly the same statue. The X version, rather, is exactly the same statue with an open mouth. So he's in a running pose, as we'll get onto in a minute, and he's got his mouth open, a bit more angry. It's kind of the popcultureshock thing. They usually do an open mouth version for the EX. So yeah, like I said, I picked this up for £400 from Collectibles Direct UK. I spoke about them many times in my reviews. Lee over there, always good to me, always gets stuff out really quick, next day delivery. It's fantastic. I can't recommend them enough for picking up your regs, or sometimes exclusives. He does have exclusives now and then, as we'll get onto later. So yeah, I paid £400 for this, shipped. I used to get 5% discount, and I think I used a few reward points on him, about 15-20 quid's worth. If I'd bought the exclusive version, so just for the extra head essentially, and the lower ES, not that bothers me, obviously, I figured it would have cost probably pushing 550 quid, and I really couldn't justify £150 extra for a head. I probably would have displayed the EX head over this one, but it really wasn't worth 150 quid. 150 quid's a good chunk of another statue, because, like I say, it's 529 bucks shipping, and the box and the size of the statue and the weight of it is extraordinary. The box is huge. I've just paid 140 bucks shipping on Reptile, so and this is definitely bigger than my Scorpion or Sub-Zero box. I'm assuming Reptile's going to be the same sort of box, and this is bigger. So I'd estimate at least 150, maybe 175 shipping to the UK on this guy, And then if you're lucky enough to get away with 5% import taxes, then yeah, I was looking at around 550 to 600 quid for this guy, possibly more. Well, a lot more actually if you got charged the full 20% customs charge. So I just couldn't justify that for the head, and you know how PCS are shipping and all that sort of stuff, and whether I got the right one, which is another issue that's going on at the moment. But let's get on to the statue. Now, I don't want to sound too over the top, but I think this is the best piece PCS has put out for a very, very long time. You know, I'm genuinely really, really happy with what PCS give me. You know, I thought Lord of Darkness is very, very good. I was really happy with my 1-3 ninjas, despite what everyone else thought. You know, the ninjas are very good statues. They're not the best. They're certainly solid 8 out of 10s. 7.5, 8 out of 10s, and but this is pushing 9.5 out of 10. It's just phenomenally well done. For one, it's fucking huge. It is absolutely huge. I've even got the tape measure here, so I wanted to give you some stats. So to his highest point, he's just under. He's about 25.5 inches high, but then width, because of the width of his hands, just under 19 inches. And then from the back of his foot, which I'm going to have to get up and get to the back of his foot, to the front of his hand is about 19 inches again. And just the overall bulk and size of this guy is incredible. It's, you know, it's Hulk proportions, it really is. Now this is actually based on a Street Fighter 5 model. I think they actually took the model and added more detail, which you'll see in a moment. So he is a massive, massive beast of a statue. You know, as a 1/4 scale, he's, you know, he could be 1/3, you know. And if they ever do Zangief in 1/3, it's just going to be ridiculously huge. So we'll go down to the base first. Just show you a bit of that off. Twist this, and yes, there we go, there's the base. Let me get a bit lower. Let me just adjust my tripod, just so we can get a bit lower, just so I can show you the theme of the base. As with all Ultra statues, they're themed to the character. So Vega's was like a broken column, very Spanish. Gief's is very reminiscent of his stage. So you got the red, because he's Russian obviously, the cage, which is iconic on the Street Fighter 2 stage, and then on the top here you've got like a wooden floor, very well textured, very well painted, and then this like he's literally running forward. So we've got like this dust part, which is all clear resin. So the base is separate. It weighs an absolute ton. This statue weighs ridiculous amounts. You know, I'm not a massive fan of heavy statues, and this is one where you put him on a shelf and you think, is that going to be okay? It's that sort of weight. You know, you just don't feel confident with it. It kind of makes sense because it's Gief, but this doesn't feel, the actual statue itself doesn't feel that hollow, which is ridiculous for the size. So fans of weight and shells breaking will be very happy. So same sort of motif all the way around the base, and the same clear smoke effect, because as you'll see as we pan up a tiny bit, he's in a running pose. Let me just tighten that back up. And the paint's on the base, it's all flawless. The reds are really, you know, it's like a matte, and all the fencing's picked out perfectly. There's no drips or overspray. And even the wood effect on the floor there is really well done. But as you can see, he's in this running pose, which is insane for this sort of character. So this is what the dust on the base represents, him kicking up a bit of dust. But as you can see, if we get into a few details here now, I have to shuffle forward a little bit. This is all Sculpt. Of course, the Ultra line, like Vega and Cammy, they're all Sculpt. There's no mixed media whatsoever, which I think at this point, the textures like on this boot and the tread and stuff, and they can do so much now with with texturing on Sculpt, they don't really need to do mixed media. I think mixed media can work really, really well in places like the Court of the Dead stuff that I've been reviewing. Mixed media is made for that, but you know, I think sometimes a Sculpt is good enough, especially, like I say, especially now, how much they can do on texturing and things like that. And go a little freehand, just to get the back. The veins and the paints, I mean the veins are so subtle on him, much more subtle than others. Sometimes they look really, really blue and really like they haven't had a wash over the top of them or any paint applied over the top. But with Geef, they got it bang on. Spin back around to the front. So you can see these huge legs. I do think his legs are a bit big. But like I said, this is apparently taken from the game model. So I assume, and I have played the game, I've played the game earlier. And I was using Geef. And he looks a little bit more trim in game. But, you know, still incredibly massive. As he should be. And then if we come all the way up, which I'll readjust, and we get this huge, wide, arcing pose with these massive hands and this fantastically sculpted and painted face. I mean, the paints are, you know, skin tones are just super up there. You know, PCS always gets skin tones done well, and musculature and the veinage and things like that. But this I just think everything about this just is, I'm not going to say next level because I hate that term, but it's kind of next level, guys. So I'm going to take a hand off. The two hands, that's what I should have said actually. Yeah, we were going through that way. So the base is one piece. The smoke effect goes on first with two magnets. And then Geef plugs in. He's got a huge peg, big round thick peg that goes into the base, and then the block as well, the key. And then the head's separate, because obviously there's a changeover head if you get the exclusive, and the hands are separate. So I'm going to pull one of the hands off quickly and just show you the details on this thing. Magnets on the hands are super strong. And they are big magnets as well. Can you actually see that in there? That's all magnet there. So just look at this hand. The nails and the text. I don't know if this is on the original Capcom file, 3D file, but in the back of the hand, just fantastically well done. Other hands are exactly the same, of course. Right, that one's, and then the head. Again, it's got like I think this is to hide the neckline. So you've got like this ball bit in here that's actually like indented, and then the peg with the magnet on. And there's your head. The eyes are so well done. And the teeth perfectly picked out. The beard, the mohawk, the veins, the texture of the skin, you can actually see the pores. You couldn't ask for a better Geef. And to be honest, there's only one other Geef out there, and he's quite expensive, and I think this one literally tramples all over the mixed media version. Now obviously the mixed media version, if you're collecting the mixed media line, you know, that's the way to go. But if you're just looking for a big Zangief statue, and you want probably the best Zangief statue out there, and I don't think anything's going to come really close to this, this is it. This is it. PCS just smashed it. Now, as far as PCS go, and you know all the shit that they've been given, you know, and some of it's very justified and very warranted. If they keep giving me pieces like this after 2 years, I don't care. I've never cared really, but this is just, yeah. And it's, you know, already straight up there for like statue, my favourite statue of the year. I mean, my Demothyle, I was just like, whoa, this is awesome. But this is just, I don't know, it's a kind of, it's apples and oranges, isn't it? You've got a Grim Reaper covered in cloth and, you know, gives it that amazing detailed armour vibe. And then this is just a big naked guy, really. But just, I just love everything about this. They've done it such good justice. And yeah, going on, the Ultraline, hopefully, if this, you know, Vega's really, really well done. You know, Vega's a good 7.5, 8 out of 10 statue. Cami came out fantastic from what I've seen. Like I say, I will pick her up and review her eventually. This, for me, like I say, is a 9.5. I don't think there's much wrong with it. And then we've got Jury coming and pre-production pictures of her and production pictures of it, and Ken. They both look so fucking awesome. If you can go join the Facebook group, the popcultureshock Facebook group, there's pre-production pictures of Jury and Ken on there. We've got Ibuki coming, we've got Bison coming, and Dalsim coming. And they have recently showed off a concept for Ryu. Now, a lot of people are going, not fucking Ryu again. Once he's done, he's done. The Ultraline needs Ryu. It's got to be done. And then we can, you know, we've already had characters like Ibuki, you know, so Ibuki and Jury, that's a win as far as I'm concerned. So let's get Ryu done to go with Kan. And Ryu's in like an Hadoken stance. It's going to have light ups and all that, and the bases, it's just moving further every time. The bases are a little bit more themed and a little bit more ambitious. So Ibuki's got a tree going through it, and Dalsim's has got all the elephants. I honestly think, I've said it for a while, this is the Street Fighter line. If you want quarter scale Street Fighter, this is it. There is no other company doing Street Fighter this well. 1/6, you've got Connecticut's out there, but really I don't rate anything they've put out. Everything looks awkward. And their prices, you can get quarter scales from popcultureshock. And especially on the aftermarket at the minute, with how it is with PCS, you can pick Vega up for 250 quid, you can pick Cami up for 300 quid. I don't know how this is going to fare, because like I say, this is a bit of buzz about it online, but you know, you will pick it up for retail still. You know, none of these statues are going to go through the roof anymore. And like I say, we're only 3 statues down and another 5 or 6 to come, and I'm sure a lot more after that. So if you want to get into Street Fighter and get into a good line, this is the line I am going to tell you to get into. I really believe this is going to be not only the best Street Fighter line, but one of the best statue lines going. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to pause the video. It'll be like a second, and then you'll see Zangief next to a couple of other statues, just so I can show you the size of him. And we'll go next to Vega and a couple other bits. 1 second, guys, and I'll be right back. Okay, guys, I'm right back. There's the Geef box. As you can see, it's a big ass box. It's actually got the pounds on here, however it was. 20 kilo gross weight. It felt heavy. It really did. So here we go, guys. So I've brought up First Figures King, one for the Scorpion here, King, Geef in the middle, and there's Ultra Vega, and then Sub-Zero twisted off to the side, and we've got Zaoyun up the corner. So as you can see, Vega and Geef scale really well. Now, King is never going to be as big as Geef. They are about the same height. I think Geef tops out at about 7'1", and King's about 6'7". But King is 200 pounds, and Geef is pushing 400, 450 pounds. So obviously that's the difference in mass. But the size of the hands on Geef, you know, don't get me wrong, King's a big statue, and King's in proportion. It's a Zangief that's huge, you know. But it's that cartoony Street Fighter vibe of it's ridiculously big, which it is. You know, and Zangief is obviously slightly crouched over, and he is slightly high, so that gives you the height advantage. But I think height-wise, they scale really well. Zangief's head isn't actually that much bigger than King's. Obviously, King is wearing a mask. You know, head size is usually it's a lot bigger than Vega's, actually. It's a lot bigger. But, you know, Zangief in-game is a big-ass character. So, can't wait to have this lineup of all these Street Fighter characters in these fantastic poses with these museum circular bases. Like I say, I've got Bison on order. I've got Ibuki on order. I've actually got the exclusive on order on Ibuki from CD UK, from Collectibles Direct. So that's what I was saying earlier. He does have exclusives in now and then. So I figured, hey, I'm not going to fuck about with PCS. I'll go straight to Lee, get my exclusive off him. And I think that was $4.35 delivered, which is about par for the course, with customs fees on and shipping and that. Shipping's getting really nuts at the moment. So, you know, if you can save on shipping, I'll just move a bit back. I did mean to dig out Kotal Khan, really, but I figured King was a bit of a better size comparison. But as you can see, Zangief is an absolute beast. Absolute beast, even next to a 1-3 Scorpion, you know. You can see how big the 1-3 statues are, actually. No slouch at all. So there you go, guys. That's my little review of Ultra Zangief 1/4 scale from popcultureshock Collectibles. If you're a Street Fighter fan and you're collecting quarter scale, no excuses. Even if you're not a big Zangief fan, I do think in hand you'll be enamoured with him. So there you go, guys. Like I say, it'll either be Quarter to Dead Death or PCS Reptile next. That's fine. We'll wait and see. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks that'll be the next review. I doubt I'll have anything else before then. So there you go, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.